Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show. I'm Bobby Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
And we are the FITT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow, every Thursday at 8 p.m. Coming to you with information to help you create wealth, and not just wealth, but generational wealth. Tips, strategies, and methods. And we like to share some of the things that we've actually tried and true and tested that had helped us to succeed. We're not saying we know it all. We're just trying to provide some help, some suggestions and recommendations to make it a little easier and smooth for you, because creating wealth is not easy. So last week, though, we did a wonderful show, man. We did a show on home ownership. Got a lot of great responses. But today, we're going to be doing this a little bit different. It's called Financial Pitfalls, Things Not to Do.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time talking about things to do. And this week, we're going to talk about things you should avoid, financial pitfalls, things that will sabotage your goal of building financial wealth. Some of these things can happen outside of your control. And I'm not talking about that where you lose a job or you have a medical catastrophe or something like that. But a lot of it is within your control. It's things that you need to do or not do in order to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And the theme of our show today is, if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging.
Yeah, can you dig it? So look, we asked, why do people fall into financial pitfalls? We have to recognize our financial problems early, and we need to learn how to take control of them and learn from our mistakes, because our livelihood depends on it. The majority of mistakes that we make are usually made through the heat of the moment, failing to think through the potential consequences. And a lot of our decisions come from a lack of knowledge and misinformation. Then you have the old cultural thing where trying to cheat yourself into a deal, better known as trying to get the hookup. And then we fall for these get-rich-quick schemes. We're not prepared, for life's consequences and circumstances. And the one that we always talk about, most people's mistakes are they fail to plan. So today, we're going to be talking about financial pitfalls. So, before I get started, I want to remind you to click on the like button, the thumbs up button, because that really helps us for Facebook to expand our viewership. It's very important you click it as many times as you can, and the heart button too. And this is very important. The comment box is important, but it's not just for comments, y'all. We want this to be interactive. You need to ask questions. Put any questions or comments or views, opinions that you have, or anything that we're saying, or if we need us to clarify a particular thing that we said, put it in the comment box. Because one, putting things in the comment box actually expands you even more than the like button. But two, we want you to ask questions, you all. And I know we don't profess to know all the answers, because if we don't, we do know where to get them. But we know most of them, and we're not just trying to give you our personal twist. We just want to let you know some of the things that work for us. But ask questions and ask for clarification. Put it in the comment box. So with that, let's discuss today the things not to do.
Yeah, and the first thing that comes to my mind is don't live on credit. I think it's so easy to do in these times with interest rates being so low. And sometimes you'll think you're staying ahead of the game, but if you're living on credit, you truly are not, because a lot of things start off with low interest rates, but it ends up compounding. You end up paying way more than you should. And you just have to get off of always requiring things that you need to pay cash, if you could pay cash for it, you're much better off than using the credit card. And you have to get some discipline, not use the card so often. And just like I said before, when you're in a hole, when you're overloaded with debt, stop digging. Stop continuing to hit that charge card.
The next one, though, is don't fall for the minimum payment trap. So many people simply don't understand how credit card bills work, which leads them into the minimum payment trap. Yes, it keeps their credit good because they're paying, on time. But when you pay the minimum payment, you're just adding up and compounding the interest. And it'll take you years to pay off a small amount of money because you're paying a minimum balance. And people fall for that trap because they know they're keeping their credit good, but yet you're paying all this interest and you're paying compound interest. That's when interest is on interest. And remember, the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest, is people who understand it earn it, and people who don't pay it. So don't fall for the minimum payment trap.
You have to watch out for the interest-free credit. Couple of reasons. First and foremost, it can make you buy something that you didn't plan to buy. Oh, I only have to pay $100 a month to buy this bedroom set or to buy this TV or whatever it is. And if you don't pay within that 12 months, they go back to the beginning and charge you interest. And it's usually 18, 24, whatever your state maximum is. And so you end up paying a lot more. Now, if you have the discipline to pay your bill every month, make sure you pay it on time, make sure you pay within those guidelines, obviously it's okay. But most people don't. For some reason, something happens or something comes up, or you end up buying too many of those things, and then you're overloaded because it seemed like a good deal because it was 12 months or 24 months. I've seen 60 months, no interest. You don't have any more money because somebody offers something with no interest. Whatever you had before that sale came up, that's how much you have. So don't let those kind of things force you into buying something that you probably cannot afford.
Don't take on unnecessary debt. Okay, this is what our little theme is. Stop digging a hole. The worst thing, look at that guy running out the exit sign. And the debt, this is a good depiction though. When I saw this, man, run. You do not need to take on any more debt because you must reduce your debt. Debt is like an albatross around your neck. Now we've talked about good debt and bad debt. Like good debt is like a home or student loan, but bad debt is not good at all. And you don't need to take on any more. Like we said, don't dig the hole any deeper. But it's so tempting sometimes to do that, because people, remember the show we had? What you want may not be what you need. So many people get confused between their wants and their needs, and they just got to have it. And this debt just piles up. You don't want to do it because this is a major factor of why people are not able to create wealth is because they take on too much debt.
The next one is you have to watch these alternative financial services. These are businesses that basically make their money taking advantage of people who are in a compromised situation. Okay, they don't have a checking account. They need to get their money quicker because they have to pay something off. And the interest rates on some of these are even higher than state minimums because they aren't regulated as vigorously as credit cards are. So you have to understand what you're paying when you use a payday loan or a lot of these other forms of alternative financial services. Your best bet's going to be to find a bank, find a brokerage firm, understand what all the fees, minimums, and whatever the case may be in order to keep those costs down. And every penny you save is a penny you can take and invest in something. And a lot of the fees they charge on these things are crazy. You shouldn't have to pay money to get your own money. Okay? Typical checking account should do.
And don't forget credit unions.
Oh
It's
yeah.
another alternative. And dope. You talk about the fees that they're charging, right?
Yep.
And until the states came in and started capping these payday lenders, they were charging people as much as 300%.
Yep.
So what they did, they came in and changed a lot of state laws, changed it and capped them at 29. Can you believe that? 29 is a lot, but it capped at 29. So this is what they did. They did not regulate the title loans. So then people started going out and getting title loans, putting up their cars. And they say 1 in 3 people lose their car to title loans. And I'm sure you all seen a lot of those title loan places, stores, and some of them they don't get creative and put up like a creative name. They just say title loans. But before I go, Garnett Nickens, man, who's one of our faithful viewers, man, she said, I'm being bombarded with banks and loan companies trying to get me to refinance. What's up with this?
And that's a good one. And you need to look at your particular situation, but as a rule of thumb, if you can cut your interest rate by 1%, and again, it may be 0.75, it may be 1.25, but somewhere in that range of 1%, typically you're going to be better off refinancing. And the thing you have to watch out there, and because you can compare, and some of these emails you get may be bogus, and so we'll talk about that in a minute. So I would definitely only deal with someone that I trusted, either the bank, and the first place you should look is the person who currently has your mortgage. Because if you've been a good customer, they don't want to lose you as a customer. So you call them up and say, I'm considering refinancing. What can you do for me? In a lot of cases, they will waive some of the fees that a new mortgage lender may charge. So it's okay to look at those refinance offers. Just make sure that they're a reputable company, but go to yours first and try to get them to give you something that you can't get from the outside. That's what I'd recommend.
And the reason why, like when you say, what's up with this, is it could be 1, 2, or 3 different reasons. But one reason could be because your mortgage is public records. They could possibly, see that they know that equity in houses are growing. So they could see that you got, a lot of equity in your house. So that could be why they can call it. Or you just have great credit. That could be why they're trying to come at you, because they know that you are a good potential client. That's the other, especially they, like you go on Zillow and see what a person's value of their house is. That's public. It's not the exact, but it gives you a ballpark. So they go with that and realize, oh man, these people got a lot of equity out there. We might convince them to take some money out.
Yeah, especially in areas where the housing values have grown. But again, another thing it might be, Bob, it might be a scammer just trying to get your personal information.
And that's the other, that's the other one. That's a big one. Hey, next, we want to talk about don't jump in and out of the stock market, okay? A lot of people panic because the stock market has been super volatile, but it's been going up. And unless you're a day trader, which very few people are, you in it for the long term. We always talk about the long play, because the market always turns around over time, but you got to be able to have the patience for it to turn around. So the key is to have a well-balanced asset allocation. By keeping your cash where it is, you could end up saving a lot of money over the long run. So don't jump in and out, because sometimes, you jump in and out. But when you jump out of the stock market to something else, you actually, if it's at a loss at that time, you realize that loss. So remember, unless you don't come out of the market, and if it's a loss at that time, that loss isn't realized. So
Bob, we've always recommended investing consistently, because no one knows when to get in and when to get out. There are people who work on Wall Street who do this full time, study the market, and they're not experts on this either. So there's no way an average person can figure out when to get in, when to get out. I have friends who 3 years ago were telling me the market was overheated. It's been a bull market for too long. The market's going to make a correction, so they pull their money out. Well, I'm not a believer in that. I just believe in staying invested. And so the market's going to correct. It's not going to go up forever. But when it does, if you've invested consistently and constantly, you'll be so far ahead as opposed to putting your money under a mattress or in a checking account or a savings account that's paying less than 1% right now. It's actually paying less than a half of 1%.
Right.
So you want to be consistent in your investment and constantly investing. And don't try to time the market. You're not that good. Most people aren't that good.
So I tell all my friends, wash your hands, don't touch anyone, and don't touch your 401k plan.
Emotional decisions. And I've fallen victim to that several times and went and bought something. And I've kind of got a little more discipline now in that I keep my goals in mind of what I'm trying to accomplish and where I need to be at a certain point in time. And that kind of keeps me grounded, and it'll keep you from making an emotional decision because you'll ask yourself, is this part of my plan? Is this a part of what I'm trying to do? And most emotional decisions typically are not good decisions because you haven't analyzed it as you normally would. And it's something that, and if it's a big buy, you're in a bad spot because it's very few things you can buy and immediately sell and come out even. And so you got to keep emotion out of it. You want to analyze, you want to have a plan, you want to have it in paper so you can look at it to remind yourself of what you're trying to do, to keep you from buying things just because you had a bad day or just because you had a good day and feel you deserve something. Those are the kind of things you have to avoid. And we've preached about having a plan and sticking to that plan. And if you do, it should keep you from making too many of those emotional decisions, which will definitely get you off track.
Hey, Doe, we got a question from Taylor, your wonderful daughter. She said, what about index funds?
Index funds are excellent. And the reason I think they're excellent is because you can pick a particular stock market or stock exchange. You can pick a particular sector. For example, you could say, I want to invest in tech funds, or I want to invest in healthcare funds. And those are areas that everybody expects to grow and continue to grow. And it will do that in a bunch of companies, which spreads your risk. The more companies you invest in, the more diversified you are, the more your risk is spread out. Now, obviously, if that particular sector goes down, you'll suffer. But over the long term, again, you're going to do okay. And remember, now, index fund is just like a mutual fund, other than the fact that it's traded like a stock. So there's a price. You can buy it and sell it during the day. Well, a mutual fund, it closes at the end of the day. Okay, that's the big difference between those two. But I'm a firm believer in index funds, especially for people who don't have the time to sit and analyze stocks and pick stocks and create their own level of diversity. That's a difficult task to do, because if you're just buying individual stocks, you need to have between 15 and 25 stocks to have a fully diversified portfolio. And obviously those stocks should not be in the same sector. And in some cases, you could almost say you should have some outside of the United States, maybe in Asia, maybe in Europe, But the key with the index fund is you get that diversity and it's professionally managed, and you can just sit back and watch it grow.
Next, don't drop insurance coverages. Now, normally when people usually get in debt or they're, tight economy or some kind of situation, event happens that caused them to be cash strapped, people tend to want to skimp on their insurance coverages. And that's the no-no. You must keep your medical insurance, your property casualty insurance, your life insurance, because things do happen. And it's so tempting, though, that's where people want to cut corners and not pay the premiums on their life insurance. And, anything can happen. And if you lapse in your premium, you could lose your life insurance, and especially medical insurance. A lot of people, man, you got to keep, especially young people, they think because they're younger, they're more healthier, that they're not going to need it, but you never know. So if anything, if it temporarily increase your deductible, if anything, if you want to save some money, but don't actually drop your insurance.
And Bob, you need to be very cognizant of that when you change jobs. Make sure you understand when the policy ends on the job you're leaving and when the policy begins on the new job. Because in some cases, there could be a lapse in coverage that you may not know about. And in most cases, if you start the first of the month, your insurance coverage won't start till the following month because you weren't on the payroll the prior month. The way we used to do it in accounting, we take the payroll at the end of the month. That's when you pay medical insurance. Make sure you know when your coverage ends and when your new coverage begins if you're changing jobs.
That's good, though.
Don't fall for scams. That is just so prevalent, and it hits me hard. Like whenever I go visit my mom, and he gets phone call after phone call, and we keep drilling in her head. Don't answer the phone if you don't know the number, and it just hurts my heart that people spend their time trying to scam people. And what you have to be aware of is that these people wake up in the morning and that's their goal, and they have become very, very good at it. And you can't drop your guard as far as clicking links on emails when you don't know who they're from, or answering ads, or as the case of that question, somebody could be a bogus refinance company and send you a tremendous rate, and apply over the phone. But those are the things you have to watch. And that old saying, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Be cognizant of that, and try not to answer. If you don't know who it is, don't answer the phone. And because they are professional salespeople, and they can make anything sound good. They have answers for anything you say as to why you don't want to do what it is they're trying to get you to do. That's their job. That's what they do. That's what they're good at. And you don't want to get caught at a weak point and get sucked into something that's almost impossible to get out of. And I know a lot of people use debit cards, and I avoid debit cards like the plague. And there's a couple of reasons. Mainly because I'm cheap and I want to get my points when I buy something. But the other reason is that a debit card is like cash. And if somebody accesses your debit card, they have direct access to your bank account. So if you do have a debit card, make sure you have that card tied to a checking account that has a minimum amount of money. So in case it is breached, your loss will be minimized. So you don't want to have a debit card attached to your savings account or attached to an account that has a lot of money, because that money's at risk. So just be cognizant, be skeptical, don't trust anybody, and don't fall for scams, because they can make your life miserable. I had a situation where somebody got my wife's social security number and filed a tax return. So I'm sitting down doing my TurboTax, and I try to file my report, and they say, no, you've already filed. And I don't know how they got her information, but what we had to go through to get that straight is draining, and you feel like you've been, robbed. It's hard. It's really hard, and because a lot of credit cards have identity theft features, and they usually offer them for free. So check your credit card to see if they offer any identity theft services. And we always talk about using the alerts so you can know if someone has access to it. Avoid when you go online shopping, looking for deals. Avoid the things that look too good to be true, because a lot of times they are. And stick to buyers, or I'm sorry, sellers that you've heard of, that are reputable, and avoid these little places that just pop up and offer you these crazy deals.
So a couple of extra tips. There's two main scams, or as they use as identity theft, and one is called phishing. Is when you get these emails and they trying to get your information, trying to get you to open up an email. One of the keys in phishing in the emails is always look at the extension. Normally like .com or .org. That's usually a giveaway, because if you see some strange extension like goober or that, anything other than the normal extensions, that's usually a giveaway. And this is the other thing about scams, you all. If you see an email and it's requesting something and it has misspelling, that's another trigger that is usually a scam. And that's really kind of interesting, isn't it, though? But they found out most literature is legitimate. They're not going to be having no misspelled words in it.
Yeah.
And another one is called farming, where they try to...
Hold up. Back to what you were saying. I just want to add on to that. The other thing to look for is poor grammar, because a lot of these scams originate in Africa or Eastern Europe, and they don't have the master of our language like we do. And so look for grammatical errors also.
Yes, that's true, though. That's a good one. Another one is farming, where it's websites. They're trying to get you to go out on their website so they can take your information or scam you. So be careful and watch out for those particular items. Next, don't enter into debt consolidation agreements. When you find yourself buried in debt, you often find mirages in the form of consolidation debt agreements. Deals would look too good to be true. Just remember this: there is nothing they can do that you can't do yourself. A lot of people don't realize that. They get into these debt consolidation agreements and they have all these embedded fees, and they sometimes end up more in debt than they were at first. So, please be careful with these debt consolidation agreements. But one of the tools I want to share with you is called the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. Their website is nfcc.org, and their telephone number is 800-388-2227. Now, this is a nonprofit organization, and they're around the country. You call this number, and they'll give you a credit counseling in the particular geographical area that you're in, and they're legitimate. So if you're needing help or something like that, National Foundation for Credit Counseling is definitely accredited, and they will help you.
Don't borrow from your retirement plans. And this is one, I'll have to admit, early in my career, I did this because I didn't think the numbers through. And I usually don't do that because I'm a pretty analytical person. But you say to yourself, well, I'm borrowing from myself, so it's not costing you anything. Well, that's not true. Borrowing from your savings plan is no different, or retirement plan is no different than borrowing from any other place. It's no different, because you're still getting X amount of money, you're paying X interest rate. So don't fool yourself into thinking that it's okay because it's your money. And the way you can convince yourself of this, if you are analytically inclined, is just do an example of you borrow from your savings plan or your retirement plan at 3%, and you borrow from a bank at 2%, you're better off borrowing from the bank at 2%. So don't think you're doing yourself any favor by borrowing from your plan, because your money isn't earning interest at that point. You're losing the opportunity cost of that money actually growing for you. So don't fall into that trap. Put your money away. And obviously, if you have an emergency or something, that's not what we're talking about. But don't pull the money out for something that you don't really need. Stick to consistently and constantly investing, and don't try to borrow from yourself.
Yeah, because most people sometimes, take the money out and think they're going to put it back in, and they don't get around to it. And they plan to do it, but hey, you know how we are sometimes.
Yeah, and if you do it from a savings plan at your job, I mean, you have to pay that back, or you will have a tax consequence if it's a 401k. So again, it's just something that you don't want to do unless you have to. So you have to think through money that you can put away and leave it put away versus putting money over here that may be for an emergency or if something comes up. But the money you invest in the market, you don't want to have to pull that out because it may be at a point where the market is in a trough or in a slump or has made a correction, and you don't want to have to pull money out at that point.
And if you're not at the retirement age, you not only get hit with the tax, you hit with the penalty.
That's for sure.
Penalty. So you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Don't borrow against your house. Now, this is kind of hard because, like we were telling Garnett, why a lot of these people want to give you some, refinance so you can take some money out. It's dangerous to refinance your house and borrow against it just for a bit of cash, right? Just for a cash injection. It means you end up handing a little bit of your ownership over to someone else. Not only are you risking your home security, but you end up paying even more on the mortgage. So be careful. Don't use your house because, like I said, you're actually handing a little bit of your ownership over to someone else. So try to resist it as you can. And like me and Dodie always says, there are situations and times we understand that you have to do it. That calls for that. But if you can keep from doing it, try to resist from doing that.
Hey, Bob, one more thing on that. If you can refi and get a shorter term, that's the optimal situation. If you can take advantage of the lower interest rates and go from a 30-year mortgage to a 20-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage or even a 10-year mortgage, you will be light years ahead. So that's what I would consider as opposed to refinancing and cashing out. That's what the banks are going to encourage you to do. Or how much money do you want? Well, if you were living okay without that money, unless you have something that you want to do with it that's positive, then just lower your term. Go from 30 to 15 or 15 to 10. Lower the amount of interest, and it will lower your amount of interest tremendously.
And that makes sense, if you're bettering your situation by refinancing. But don't borrow against your house just to take out a cash injection. I know people do that to go on a trip, to buy a car. Like Doe said, if you were making it without it, why would you try to start doing that and putting, like I said, this is very important. You're giving some of the ownership of your house when you borrow against it.
Don't buy a new car. And this is one I'm kind of adamant about because we've talked about before. I love cars. I love nice cars. And I buy nice cars, but I never pay retail price for a car. I was telling Bob about the example with the Porsche that I bought back in 18. It was a year old, and it was a certified pre-owned from the dealer. And what they do to encourage people to buy those is they give you a warranty. And so I bought the car a year old. The standard Porsche comes with a 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty. Well, if you buy a certified pre-owned from the dealer, you get 2 years added on to the original warranty. So I bought it a year old. So I got a 5-year warranty, and the time period becomes unlimited. I'm sorry, not the time period, but the mileage becomes unlimited. And so I buy a year-old car, I get a 5-year unlimited warranty, which is better than a new car warranty, and I pay considerably less than I would have had I bought it new. So, I mean, that seems like a win-win all the way around to me. And like I always say, I'm cheap like that. I see because everybody knows when you drive a car off the lot, it depreciates tremendously. And if you just have to have a new car because you want a new car, then right now you should be looking at 2021 that's on the dealer's lot, that is depreciated. The dealer will admit that it's depreciated, and you will get it tremendously low, tremendously below the MSRP. So buying a new car to me is throwing money away. It really is, because as soon as you drive it off, it's worth considerably less than you just paid. And
go ahead.
And you can get a much better warranty with a CPO, or buying it a year old, you get a tremendous discount by buying it that way. And most cars are well built and will last 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And that wasn't the case before, but now they are. So and every year you go out, if you buy a 2-year-old car, it's going to be even cheaper. A 3-year-old car will be even cheaper, But if you just have to have a new car, then wait and buy it at the end of the model year when you still can get a discount. You want to pay as little as you can for an asset that does nothing but depreciate. At the end of 6 years, it's going to be a hunk of steel, just like whatever it is you're driving now. So don't stay out of that emotional decision. Come up with a plan, figure out what's reasonable, and try to do it that way.
They say it's about an average of about 30% that your car drops in value when you drive it off the lot. So what I did, Dodie, I actually bought a brand new Hyundai Azera, which at the time was the top of the line, like the Genesis is now, because they stopped making it because they want to sell a Genesis. And I bought it brand new, but it was 2016, brand new with 30 miles on it. And I bought it in 2017, like in July.
Right.
And it was a difference of $8,000. Just that. But it was brand new. Had the brand new smell, the brand new look, So don't want to backtrack for a minute. Our good friend.
One more thing on cars I want to mention, because I bought this BMW X6, and it wasn't new, but it was an executive demo. And so the guy who ran the BMW dealership knew that's what I was looking for. And when he found one, now that one sold as a new car, and I got like 0.9% financing, which I want all the cheap money I can get, but I still got it at a tremendous discount from new. And the car had like 7,000 miles on it, and you get a new car warranty because the car has never been titled. And that's another way. If you like very expensive cars, then look for executive demos or certified pre-owned. Sorry, Bob, go ahead.
No, talk a little bit about the certified pre-owned difference than the new car and the warranties.
Like I said before, they add on to the warranty. So in the case of Porsche, they add 2 years and unlimited mileage. So like I said, you end up with a better warranty than a new car warranty. Think about that for a minute. You get a 1-year-old car and you get a 5-year warranty. You buy a new car, you get a 4-year warranty. And the new car has a 50,000 mile limit. The 5-year-old used car or certified pre-owned car has unlimited mileage. I don't know how you can beat that. And you bought it at a discount. But it's a year old. And some people may have an issue with that. I certainly didn't, because when I got the car, it looked like it was brand new.
Exactly, especially certified new owned car, right? I want to backtrack right quick. Our friend Sharice, who's a wonderful viewer, good friend of ours, she was talking about, she said, yes, you have to be careful with these apps like Cash Apps and Venmo. And that's a very good one, Sharice, because when we talk about scams and things like that, if you're using Cash Apps, you should only be sending money to people that you know. Because that way, that's the only one of the few security ways to go. Because if you go to somebody you don't know and they will scam you, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. So as much as you use Cash Apps, and I know a lot of people use them, but make sure you send the money to people that you know. That's one of the ways that you can help She said that her email was also hacked and it messed up her whole email account. And
Yeah.
she said, look for legit banks or accounts that you regularly do business with, like Amazon and people like that.
Hey, Bob. Yeah, back it up a little bit. Just like I said with the checking account, make sure your Cash App or Venmo account is tied to a checking account that you have a minimum amount of money in. You don't want to have it tied to an account that has a lot of money at risk. So find a separate checking account and put just enough in there to make the transactions that you want to make. So if you do get hacked, your loss will be minimized.
And if you are a person that has a child in school or something and use a lot of cash apps, it's worth opening up another checking account and keeping the low balance in there just to use it as like an operating account. That's what Dote is saying, especially if you use it a lot. So, because you don't want to like have your personal family account in there that has 10,000, 25,000. No, something as low as, a couple of $1,000 is all you need. And that way you can prevent, being hacked. Because once it's gone, the money's gone. Cash apps is not like a bank.
Hey, Bob, quick story. Well, one of my kids were in college, and all my kids are pretty athletic, and they're all stay in shape and fit. And my son had a credit card, and I kept seeing charges, this was up at Penn State, for Howie's Pizza. And it was like every day. And first I thought it was my daughter. And I called her up and said, you're going to be big as a house eating this Howie Pizza every day. So that's not me. Maybe it's TJ. So I asked TJ about it. No, I don't eat that stuff. Well, his roommate had stolen his credit card number and was hitting Howie's Pizza every day, offering all the roommates some, like he's Big Daddy, giving it, he's stealing from all the roommates. So tell your kids the same thing we're talking to you about, scam. They need to be worried about that too. People in college still, college students still, everybody will get your credit card number and do things. So make sure you warn them about scams.
Yeah, definitely. So, Dope, we're at that point of the time of the show where it's time to do takeaways. So, this is the point of the show where we recap the things that we had actually talked about. Want to just say right quick, though, we got my main man, Joe Stevenson. He was watching, and my elementary school, junior high school, and high school friend, Carl McIntyre, is out there watching. And our wonderful, wonderful, committed frat brother, Rob Robinson. We want to say, what's up, frat? So, first summary and takeaway, Dope. People don't fail the plan. Don't fail the plan. Failing the plan is planning to fail. In all of our shows, we make it a point. We always talk about the first and most important thing in building wealth is having a plan. And I know you probably get tired of us hearing it, but it's a reason why we keep saying it, because one, learning is repetitive. And we just want to remind you that it is so important. Don't fail the plan.
The majority of mistakes are made in the heat of the moment. And I've done this many times in my life, and I'm getting better at not doing that. But try to take an analytical approach, especially to major, large purchases. And I know everybody's been in a situation at the car dealer where he's saying, oh no, this deal, if you don't take it today, it won't be here. That's bull. Believe me, it'll be there tomorrow. If you need time to think a decision over, take the time. Don't be pressured into making a decision that might not be in your best interest. If the deal's good today, it'll be good tomorrow. And try to think it through. Keep to your goals, keep to your plan, and stay out of those heat of the moment emotional decisions.
And another financial pitfall, people don't seek help. We also repeat this time and time again. If you don't have the knowledge, you need to get to professional assistance so that you can need to assist. Because we always say, creating wealth is not easy. And the more help you have, if you can't get the information yourself, seek professional help and make sure they have some kind of designation like a CPA or a CFP, Certified Financial Planner, or MBA, some kind of designation or showing that they have some experience and formal academic knowledge in it.
Don't fall for scams. Keep your skeptical view wide and always on, because people are full-time trying to steal your money. That's their job. Stay away from things that you that are new or you're uncomfortable with or you've never heard of, and stick to basics. Don't get scammed.
Yes, that's so important. And the last thing that we want to say, when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging, because that's our problems. We go deeper and deeper, and we need to learn from our mistakes. We need to recognize early on our financial problems and learn how to take control of them. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, if you have any questions, please put it right there in the comment box before we get off here. Every Thursday, 8 p.m., please tell other people, you all, because this information is not just for you. This information can help a lot of people, because there are a lot of people struggling financially out there. And it's just not being able to make sound financial decisions. It's just as simple as that. People only know what they know. And what we here at the FITT Show are trying to do, we're just trying to provide the knowledge so the people can empower themselves to help for them to manage their personal finances. In closing, Dode, is there anything you want to leave with?
No, I think we've hit the points we wanted to hit today.
Yeah, that was a lot of information as always. We here, like I said, every Thursday. Before we get off here, keep hitting that like button and that heart button and the smiley face. Can't do enough of that. And thank you all for listening. And next week we're coming with another action-packed. Remember, we got 50 pounds of knowledge in a 10-pound bag. And look, we keep saying this, you all. If some of this may be complicated or some people feel like it's going over their head, put in the comment box. Ask for clarification. Don't be shocked. I won't say your name. If you don't want to put it in there, don't say my name. But come on, y'all. This is a perfect opportunity. As me and Dodie said, there's no cut card for us. We're not trying to sell no product. We're not trying to, that's it. We just want to help you. And we can only help you if you let us help you. So with that, thank you. Tune in next week, The FITT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow.